This is NBC Nightly News, reported by Garrick Utley. Substituting tonight, Stephen Frazier.
Good evening. There has been a major air disaster in Asia tonight. A chartered Austrian Lauda Air Boeing 767 traveling from Bangkok to Vienna exploded in a huge fireball and crashed in the jungles of northwest Thailand tonight. There were 213 passengers on board, plus a crew of 10. A number of bodies have already been recovered, but rescuers have not reported finding any survivors. A short time ago, I spoke by telephone with Alan Darby, a reporter with the Bangkok Post, who is in Thailand tonight, and asked him for the latest details.
All we know is that police in the province are saying that eyewitnesses said they saw an explosion, something like a fireball, and they heard sounds of an explosion, and then the plane crashed. That's really all the hard facts we've got.
How difficult will it be now to recover wreckage or to learn anything about what happened?
It should not be difficult at all. Once it gets light, the transport between here and Suphanburi is good, the road is good. It's just that the lack of information at present is purely because it's night time, it's Sunday night, and most people are asleep.
The political situation in Thailand isn't one that would lead terrorism to present itself as a cause for this, would it?
Definitely not. Definitely not. We don't have any terrorist alerts here, and we haven't had any attacks of this sort. So there's nothing, and in addition, as an Austrian airline, one wouldn't normally expect this to be a target of any terrorist attack, so there's nothing to suggest any terrorist involvement.
Alan Darby in Bangkok. And a cautionary note on this weekend when so many Americans are traveling. TWA says it is inspecting its entire fleet of 207 planes because it fears some bolts in them may be faulty. 3 other airlines, Eastern, United, and Lufthansa, also bought the suspect bolts from the same Oakland, California supplier. United has already replaced them, even though it says the bolts are not a safety threat. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating. And on this weekend, when most Americans are preoccupied with the arrival of summer, a major policy battle is shaping up in Washington. The Bush administration appears to be abandoning its promise to permit people infected with the AIDS virus to visit or immigrate to the United States. Jamie Gangel is in Washington with more on this reversal, which may reignite an old controversy. Good evening, Jamie.
Good evening, Stephen. The Bush administration may have hoped to quietly keep the AIDS ban on immigrants, but as the news leaked out, the battle has begun, and now there are indications that the White House may postpone its decision. Vacationing in Kennebunkport today, the president kept his comments to golf.
Feeling good and playing well for me. Not good, not well, but well for me.
But in Congress, they are already playing tough.
We know how it's communicable. Lack of sanitation with dirty needles and promiscuous sex, and that seems to be enough in the heterosexual and homosexual communities to be keeping it a raging pandemic.
The right-wing, really far-right, kind of wacko wing of the Republican Party decided that this was intolerable, and they put pressure on George Bush.
The debate is not new. For 4 years, AIDS activists and public health groups have been fighting to end the U.S. immigration ban for people infected with the AIDS virus. The policy has been denounced as discriminatory and unjustified.
HIV is not a casually transmitted disease. People coming into the country who are infected pose no danger to people who are living here now.
And it looked like they had won. Elimination of the ban was endorsed by the World Health Organization, the International Societies of the Red Cross, the Centers for Disease Control, and finally this January by Secretary of Health and Human Services, Louis Sullivan. But in response, conservatives on Capitol Hill launched a major campaign. More than 40,000 letters were sent to the Centers for Disease Control, and this weekend, administration sources say the White House buckled. AIDS is now listed with syphilis, gonorrhea, leprosy, and tuberculosis on the immigration ban. But if the administration sticks to its plan, only AIDS and TB will be left. But, Stephen, to lessen the controversy, the White House may do what seems to come naturally in politics, simply postpone its decision. Stephen?
In the absence of that decision, then, Jamie, what can Congress do, if anything?
Not much, but we will hear a lot of political speeches. There's going to be a fight, and certainly the Democrats are not going to let George Bush forget that he has gone against the recommendation of his own health secretary.
Jamie Gagel in Washington, thank you. And this disturbing medical note from here in New York City. The New York Daily News reports that 2,000 women were never notified by city hospitals that their mammograms showed abnormalities. 400 of them, it's estimated, may have breast cancer and don't know it. City officials admit that bureaucratic snafus contributed to the notification delays that are critical because the earlier the notification, the higher the survival rate. As we cover our world tonight, we'll go next to Ethiopia, where that country's civil war appears to be coming to an end. And on Focus, the disabled, trying to collect Social Security benefits. It's often not as easy as it's supposed to be.
All right, you get the sprinkles and turn around. Yeah.
On a hot West Texas desert, something was done that was never done before. The stock engine in this ZR1 Corvette broke a 14-year-old Mercedes record, running 28 straight hours, averaging 173 miles per hour. The big surprise, however, is that the engine in every Chevrolet is designed to these same durability standards. With 99 models redesigned and engineered, GM is putting quality on the road.
You okay?
I feel so frail, not square like you.
Quaker Oat squares are more than just square. Whole grain oats sprinkled with brown sugar, and we stay crunchy.
Now I am depressed.
Quaker Oat squares. You'll love them from square one.
Whirlpool believes a great washer is one you rarely ever think about. Solidly built to do its job for years without a second thought. If you want a washer so well built you don't have to think about it, think about Whirlpool.
India's Justice Minister said today the assassination of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi was a conspiracy. These investigators are now looking for a man who posed as a journalist at the scene of the killing. They believe he was a backup killer who would have acted had the suicide bomber who is blamed for Gandhi's death lost her nerve. Today, Rajiv Gandhi's son gathered the ashes from his father's funeral pyre to be strewn in the Hindu faith's holy rivers Tuesday. In Ethiopia tonight, rebels who have waged a 30-year-old civil war claim to have captured the international airport near the capital of Addis Ababa. The rebels already control other key parts of the East African country. Tom Pettit has more from London, where rebel and government negotiators meet this week to discuss a ceasefire.
Ethiopia approaches anarchy. In Addis Ababa today, students and others demonstrated for peace. One Ethiopia, one people is a pure irony in this country torn by multiple civil wars and famines. Guerrilla armies approached the capital of what once was a Stalinist government. Now it is this, toppled statues of Lenin and competing revolutions which forced the president into exile. Rebel forces have moved to the outskirts of Addis Ababa, and tonight gunfire was heard in the city itself, just as Canadian journalist George Emerson was talking to me on the phone.
There goes another gunshot, a whole bunch of heavy gunfire just now.
Emerson said the city still is in government hands, but foreigners are departing hastily, not as dramatically as the Ethiopian Jews did, but they are evacuating.
There's a bit of a panicky situation at the moment. Everybody's trying to leave town.
What I want to underline is we want to avoid a confrontation. We want to avoid a situation where we have to fight it out in Addis Ababa.
The Ethiopian Prime Minister is going to London for American-sponsored ceasefire talks with rebel leaders scheduled for Tuesday. In Addis Ababa today, the prayers of Coptic Christians contrasted dramatically with the collapsing political system. Tom Pettit, NBC News, London.
15,000 Ethiopians are far from that strife today. Airlifted to Israel during the weekend in Operation Solomon, an exodus of Ethiopian Jews to new lives in the homeland of their faith. It is a religious homecoming, but a new experience culturally. Tonight, Martin Fletcher takes us on site to Jerusalem with Israel's newest citizens.
Oh, no, he's just like my son. They like chicken and corn.
Yeah.
Yeah?
They drink a lot.
They drink a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I think they had enough food in Addis, but there certainly wasn't enough water. How long have you known this girl?
5 minutes.
You just walked through the door because you wanted to help?
It's important. We think that it's important just to come, to be here, to talk with them, to play with them, dance with them.
There's still euphoria here, happy faces and happy times. But what of the future? The 15,000 Ethiopians who came in one day need homes, jobs, and there aren't nearly enough already. Israel's also trying to absorb up to 1 million Soviet Jews over the next few years. Still, first things first. All the Ethiopians that just came have been registered in the hotel. These are the rooms they're staying in. And now the people, the Ethiopians who've been here for years, are coming here looking for their family members, people they haven't seen for many years in some cases. How long had the parents not seen their children for?
One 7 years and the other one 14 years.
In this room they have shoes, so everybody's coming here after the clothes to try and find a pair of shoes. It's a pretty unimpressive collection of shoes. Basically, it's the old shoes that people don't want, but nevertheless, you get the feeling here that Israelis have bombarded the Ethiopian Jews with anything they need. The Ethiopians came here with no possessions at all, so everything they find here is more than they had at home.
Religious Jews welcome them in their traditional way. The song, "The People of Israel Are Alive." For them, the airlift of the Ethiopian Jews is the work of God. Marlon Fletcher, NBC News, on site with the Ethiopians in Jerusalem.
In South Korea, a shakeup in the government. President Roh Tae-woo replaced 4 of his cabinet ministers, hoping that would end a wave of violent anti-government protests. But opposition leaders said that wasn't enough and said demonstrations are likely to continue.
When minor arthritis pain holds you back, you need strong medicine. Bengay with not just 1 but 2 pain relievers. Warming power for fast relief. Bengay helps get you going again. Bengay, fast, strong medicine for pain relief.
When you rinse first with Plax, normal everyday brushing takes on a whole new meaning. Plax, clinically shown to remove more plaque than brushing alone.
Pool is like life.
How so?
I don't know. I just remember a guy said that to me once, and I never asked him what he meant.
Why not?
Well, you know, I didn't want to sound stupid.
Saving it up, huh? Relax. You're among friends. Levi's 100% cotton Dockers.
Perhaps you're losing a little money on annual credit card fees. Perhaps you should use the card that charges no annual fee. And keep your money where it belongs. It pays to discover.
With lower back pain, every step can send more pain to your lower back. Clinically proven BackGuard shoe inserts can help relieve lower back pain because BackGuard absorbs jarring foot shock with every footstep you take. BackGuard, only from Dr. Scholl's.
On Focus this evening, Social Security benefits and the disabled. Last week we told you that congressional investigators had determined that the government is processing benefits quickly for elderly Americans, but they also found that because of problems on the state level, there are serious delays getting those benefits to more than 4 million disabled Americans, delays that are causing extreme hardship. We asked Henry Champ to investigate further, and tonight Henry joins us from Washington to tell us what he found. Henry, good evening.
Good evening, Stephen. If you are disabled and you live in New Jersey, California, Hawaii, or Florida, just to mention a few states, you could face delays of not just months, but perhaps years. NBC News has learned Washington is warning those delinquent states, get your act together or we'll take over the service and run it ourselves.
I had paid into the Social Security system all my life that I had worked, and he had, in a sense, treated me like a second-rate citizen.
Thomas Hennessy worked for the Pompano Beach, Florida Traffic Department, but after a triple bypass operation and 2 strokes, his doctor said he should never work again. Yet it took 2 years of appeals before Florida agreed he was disabled. Savings gone, the Hennessy's very nearly lost their home.
I know how people become homeless now. If they had foreclosed on this house, we would have been out in the streets.
As bad as it sounds, the Hennessy's were lucky. They eventually got their benefits. Many disabled Americans with valid claims do not.
People are dying before they're getting their benefits. They're clearly disabled, and because the delays are so bad right now, we've seen an increasing number of people die.
Bertha Griffin's son, Nicholas, was repeatedly hospitalized with pancreatitis and diabetes. Yet it took 2 years of appeals before his claim was approved in April, a month after he died.
I just couldn't understand what they were waiting for. It was still, as they say, another hearing, and that's the way it went on from 89 to 91.
In Sacramento, California, the files are piling up, the delays are extensive. There have been budget cuts and hiring freezes, but the chief problem in that state, as in other states, is who meets the criteria to be classified disabled. The person making a claim never meets the person ruling on it. Denials are often issued by computers reacting to incomplete medical reports, denials that can take 3 years to overturn.
I sincerely believe that if face-to-face interviews and better documentation standards were implemented, that you'd see a lot more people getting benefits at earlier stages when they deserve it.
On Tuesday, experts will start their investigations in New Jersey, beginning what could be one of the bigger shakeups in Social Security over the last few years. Stephen?
Henry, how many people is this happening to?
Well, last year, in 1990, 171,000 people were denied disability claims on their first effort. And yet 2/3 of those people eventually received those benefits after they had gone to appeal.
And that threat you mentioned a moment ago, that the federal government might assume some state functions, how serious is that?
Oh, that's a very real threat. To begin with, when the committee was looking at how to find information of abuses, they simply went to other congressmen, and they were deluged by information. Every congressman, representative or senator, had all sorts of files on their desk of people complaining about this. It's the kind of thing that the administration and the Congress want to support. They don't want to see this kind of thing coming back in the midst of an election year.
Henry Champ in Washington, thank you. And we'll have more news in a moment.
This jacket is that romantic dinner you promised your wife. Here's the cash you set aside for your scuba lessons. You are going to spend this on souvenirs for the kids. But this punk has other plans for your vacation money. It's your vacation. Do something about it. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without.
You've just won $10 million in the American Family Sweepstakes. Congratulations. You can be next to get good news like this. You can get rich. $10 million rich just weeks from now. I'll announce the $10 million winning number next month. It may be in your mail right now. Only the sweepstakes with my picture. Be sure it has my picture. This $10 million prize can make you super rich next month. Hurry.
Today, there's a prescription strength cure for athlete's foot. Lotramin AF, the #1 prescribed athlete's foot medication available without a prescription. Lotramin AF, the prescription strength cure for athlete's foot.
Services. So get to the riot. We'll provide the quiet. The Midas Quiet Riot. For great values, nobody beats Midas. Nobody!
My husband's a doctor, but he's not the only health specialist in this family. That's why I use Pam.
Just look at all the fat and cholesterol in butter compared to Pam.
And just taste these salmon steaks.
No stick Pam, the healthier way to cook.
You okay?
I feel so frail, not square like you.
Quaker Oat squares are more than just square. Whole grain oats sprinkled with brown sugar, and we stay crunchy.
Now I am depressed.
Quaker Oat squares. You'll love them from square one.
In the Soviet Union today, a successful end to the first space flight by a British citizen. After 8 days in orbit, 27-year-old chemist Helen Sharman returned to Earth with 2 cosmonauts who had been working aboard a Soviet space station for the past 5 months. The 2 astronauts who accompanied her into space are now conducting experiments aboard that space station. And now to Iraq. In the north, the Kurds are finally coming home en masse, nearly 50,000 of them this weekend alone. Life there starting to return to normal. Not so in Baghdad. Economic sanctions imposed by Western nations are still in effect there and are taking their toll. Amidst the people, a growing sense of isolation and frustration. Tom Aspel reports.
Baghdad, burning hot, choking traffic. In most places, it's hard to tell this city was at war with the West just a few short months ago. It looks untouched, almost as if Allied warplanes never made it this far north of Kuwait. But there are signs. Vital bridges and roads have been neatly severed by precision bombing. Government ministries look as though something slipped in and churned their interiors to match with. And before too long, it becomes evident that all this busy traffic, all these people, really aren't going anyplace. The city is just marking time. The war and the sanctions have isolated Iraq. There's no trade with the outside world, no oil going out, no consumer goods coming in. In theory, Iraqis are allowed to leave. Many are trying. Getting the exit visa can take time and money. Some spend thousands of dollars to bypass the bureaucracy. But the others are stuck here with no place to go.
According to foreign aid experts and study groups who've been visiting Iraq in the past few weeks, the crunch will come in August.
Medical supplies are running short, jeopardizing the lives of thousands of children. And there'll soon be shortages of wheat and grain. And spare parts needed to keep the economy running are already scarce.
I assure you, many people are finding it very hard to live now. It's very expensive, food is expensive, everything. It's really not very healthy at all.
He means expensive for these people, the majority who get by on a few $100s a month while prices are climbing. The Iraqi people feel they're being punished because George Bush wants Saddam Hussein out. The West won't lift sanctions while he's in power, but he won't go, and nobody's strong enough to force him out. So for now, the Iraqis have no choice but to wait. Most seem to know things can only get worse. Tom Aspel, NBC News, Baghdad.
And from Holland tonight, this small story of great determination and enterprise. A story about a 3-year-old boy. Police say the child left his home and headed to a nearby highway on his tricycle. Fortunately, he was spotted by a motorist as he pedaled along. The driver gave him a soda, then called police, who managed to find his parents and return him. And where was he going? To visit his grandparents, about 25 miles away.
The Dodge Spirit, the Plymouth Acclaim. Last year, in consumer comparisons, 83 out of 100 people preferred the Acclaim and Spirit to Honda Accord. Both have a longer powertrain warranty than Honda, more interior room, and a driver's airbag. So what are you waiting for? A deal? All right. We're offering savings and incentives up to $2,250. Rediscover the great American family car values.
They've got Coleman coolers on sale. I love camping out.
Oh, yeah, hot dogs.
Nature walk.
Cold beer.
Fresh air.
Potato salad.
Hey, are we going to camp out or pig out?
Hey, look what I just found.
Oh, Duracell batteries are on sale. I had to take the batteries out of my camera and the flash and my calculator and give them to the kids for their tape players.
These are the sacrifices parents have to make.
When you get gas pain, you've got a choice. Your antacid or Gas X, the tablet made for gas pain. It's extra strength, 100% simethicone to get rid of gas faster than your antacid. Fight gas right with Gas X.
The doctor knows where it hurts. Dr. Scholl's unique 2-layer air pillow insoles. 1 layer for shock, 1 for comfort. You'll feel better when the doctor is in. Dr. Scholl's.
This bench gets a professional finish with Krylon spray paint. No runs, no drips, no errors. Dries to the touch in minutes. The other brand's still tacky. Wow! What a game!
Good game, Mr. Uger.
Hey, she's a lot tougher than she looks. For a fast, smooth, professional finish, get Krylon.
This, of course, is the Memorial Day weekend, a time for a day at the beach, family outings, air shows, and parades. In New Orleans, a colorful Memorial Day parade followed the Mardi Gras route. Veterans of the Persian Gulf War saluted, along with veterans of earlier wars. And finally tonight, life in the 90s. It has brought austerity to many families, hard times. And yet there are some who are more fortunate. Fortunate enough, in fact, to spend large sums of money pampering their pets. Deborah Roberts tells us more.
Life doesn't have to be mundane just because you're a dog. A bubble bath could liven up a day. Maybe a good toothbrushing with beef-flavored toothpaste will do the trick. Or a bright new pedicure. It's all in a day at a posh Atlanta pet salon.
I take my dog to another place, and they treated my dog like it was a dog.
And that's a problem. A growing number of animal owners won't stand for that.
She's my baby. You know, other people have children, and I have a dog, so...
Animal businesses know that, and they're cashing in on these new family ties.
See you later, when I love you.
Grooming salons are now complete pet spas, and they're making millions with all kinds of accessories.
Oh, how pretty you look. I'm going to tell your mama to buy this for you, okay?
At an Atlanta animal spa, good pet parents are virtually drowning their animals in love and affection. In Maryland, picky pets can check into a self-styled animal country club while their owners are out of town.
Come down, Earl. Earl's going to be with us for a month.
But if your cat isn't impressed with all this, there's help. For $90 a visit, a New York cat therapist can teach him how to relax.
A cat is very much affected by body language and tone of voice. Let me show you with Sonny. Okay, Sonny, what do you think? See how he's responding to my voice, which is soft. I'm relaxed, and Sonny's relaxed.
If pain is your pet's problem, acupuncture could help. Some animal owners swear by it. But for all their comforts, few animals live as well as Harry the Terrier, who takes a limo to and from his New York grooming appointments. Impressive? Maybe. But even for a dog, life in the fast lane can become just another day. Deborah Roberts, NBC News, New York.
That's Nightly News for tonight. Jane Pauley will be here for Tom Brokaw tomorrow night. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning on Sunrise and Today. I'm Stephen Frazier. Good night for all of us here at NBC News.
An innocent girl kidnapped by a man who owned everything.
I want to see her. Where is she?
What she needed was a desperado.
Can I ask you to do something for me?
What she got was more than she imagined.
You got my word on it.
A Memorial Weekend romantic adventure.
Where's the little girl?
Desperado, Badlands Justice on NBC tonight.
I'm Brian Gumble. Monday morning on Today, a special tribute to Americans who died in the Gulf War.
I'm Catherine Kirk. Also a look at our endangered forests.
Join us Monday morning on Today.
Home ownership, the American dream. For Oregonians, now is the time to stop dreaming and start buying. Ample selection of housing, tempting interest rates, lower property taxes, a strong local economy create market conditions that defy the national housing recession. Whether buying or selling, you can choose an Oregon company for your title insurance and escrow needs. Oregon Title Insurance Company is the only locally owned and headquartered title insurance underwriter serving Oregonians. Oregon Title, committed to Oregon, committed to protecting your best investment.
Good taste need not be expensive. Vancouver Furniture simply sells it for less. Right now, we're having a no sales tax, good old American sale. Save on the good stuff. Lazy Boy, Posturepedic. Douglas, Riverside, Lane, Bassett, Simmons, Stratford, Universal, Fisher, Frigidaire, Mitsubishi. No money down, at least 2 years to pay. Free hot dogs and soda Saturday through Monday. Free flags for fun. No sales tax. A lot of Portland stores sell great furniture. We simply sell it for less.
The Politics of Survival, beginning Monday on News 8 at 6.